afternoon, all, and welcome back to another edition of the Sal Greco Show, and I'm your host, Sal Greco. Thank you all for tuning in. It's been a wild last couple of days. Okay, there's a lot to go over in a short amount of time. So thank you all for tuning in. Good afternoon, 1804 Banks. I see Samara Cohen, Hard X Core, Chronicles of the Collapse. Everyone was always in here. I see Operational Breadbasket. He was really good the other day. Good afternoon to all of you as well. Thank you for being here. If you can, 92 Charlie, I see you. Lily, Frankie Palaguacci was just on the show just the other day. Unfortunately, if you can, go to his GoFundMe to help him out with his situation. But if you're watching us right now on YouTube right now, please hit that like, share, subscribe button, hit the notification button as well. If you're watching us on Rumble, please hit that like button, hit that repost button. And if you're watching us streaming live right now on X all over the world, please like that post and share it out with all your friends, especially those in that low information bubble. And there was plenty of low information people that got informed last night on an X space. But what am I going to start with? Obviously, it's very obvious what I'm going to start with. There was a debate last night, correct? You saw 3 candidates for New York City mayor. Curtis Sliwa, who we know this show has endorsed and this entire network has. Then you had Zohran Mamdani and Andrew Cuomo. Watching this debate, listen, I've been through a lot of these already, many years, involved in politics. And I could tell you, Curtis Sliwa won that debate hands down. And in fact, there was the post that says, hats off to Curtis. He did a phenomenal job. And I got to be honest with you, my hat's off to Errol Lewis, Katie Honan, who were the moderators and did such a great job moderating, unlike the last debate, which was a clickbait, clout-chasing event with NBC, because they were talking about President Trump and Israel for the first hour, 2 things that really do not affect the day-to-day operations of New York City. Those are one is a foreign country who, yes, there are New York City citizens that go back and forth to Israel, but what happens in Israel, how does that affect New York City 24/7? And I'm talking about 7 days a week. That would be saying that any foreign country, what happens there affects New York City operations 24/7, and that is not the case. Also, the president does have a say, and I mean a say in that there's federal aid, federal programs. So yes, does the president affect New York City? Yes, but not day to day. So bringing these 2 subjects up with just in the NBC debate was trying to help the Zohran Mamdani / Andrew Cuomo class, because remember, it's a 3-card Mamdani. So I also wanted to show what was going on prior to the debate, because there's this entire, I don't know what you want to call it, online scam. It's ridiculous what we're seeing, right? I'll get to you because Reed is saying Cuomo was at the Knicks game. Z was nowhere to be found. I'm sure Curtis went out there to talk to the people. Cuomo doesn't want this job. He just wants the perks of front row seats. It's funny you mentioned. I'm going to tell you what Curtis was saying because, again, we had this X space last night. So this guy, Bill Ackman, who, the guy should have been investigated for stuff he did during COVID. He was manipulating stocks, all kinds of stuff. He keeps coming after Curtis Sliwa. It's really sick what he wrote. So I put that he was talking about 8-to-1 matching. You stop there right there. He was talking about 8-to-1 matching funds. He's trying to say that Curtis is doing something illegal. But I think Bill Ackman forgot about his buddy who was with Andrew Cuomo last night. Was Bill Ackman questioning his buddy Eric Adams when he took $10 million in matching funds in bribes from straw donors and sold the city out to people like him? Too bad with all of Bill's money, he can't afford any integrity, dignity, or class. Okay? Curtis Sliwa is like any other candidate. You have 8-to-1 matching funds. You know what Curtis Sliwa isn't doing? Unlike what Zohran Mamdani has been doing, he doesn't have straw donations and he doesn't have foreign donations. Bill Ackman needs to ask his buddy, Eric Adams, what he was doing and what he continued to do all the way until he suspended his campaign. Eric Adams was taking money, and that 8-to-1 matching funds, he was using it for many things, including partying to the break of dawn. Okay? And then you see this, because today, I mean, this should come as no surprise. A disgraced soon-to-be former mayor endorsing a disgraced former governor. Did anyone expect anything different? It's a three-card Mamdani. All three Democrats are all on the same team, same policy, same agenda. Only question is, where's the party at with Eric, Andrew? And you could see what it says in this article. And this is Mr. Adams after endorsing Andrew Cuomo. I think that it is imperative to really wake up the black and brown communities that have suffered from gentrification and how important this race is, Mr. Adams said. He who has destroyed New York City and has left the black and brown community wondering who is going to lead them out of this mess. Now he's going to come and say, I couldn't do it myself, but Andrew Cuomo can. All right. And he's going to hit all the low information talking points. My mama said this. Maybe he goes to Sobro Gardens, has a drink with a bunch of criminal friends of his with Andrew Cuomo. Who knows? I mean, maybe they were doing that last night after the Knicks game. We don't know if that happened, but this is ridiculous that people would even consider any of this being serious. It's been a three-card Mamdani since the beginning. And you want to know how we could prove this? I found something else yesterday before I'll show you some videos on the debate. It looks like Andrew Cuomo's people are running the same packs with Zohran Mamdani, okay? Like I've said, a vote for Cuomo is a vote for Mamdani. It's the same candidate, no matter how you look at it. It's Curtis Sliwa or bust. And here's Laura Loomer. I know people have a lot to say about Laura Loomer. But Laura Loomer, 1 out of 10 things she's going to get right. This Democratic consultant there, Jeffrey Lerner, okay, and if you pull this up, you could read into this, paid nearly $750,000 into this consulting firm, which is Zohran Mamdani and Andrew Cuomo. We keep telling you they are in cahoots together. I see a lot of his people. Someone who recently, used to talk to us, so I don't know, that lives in the Bronx and is a failed political candidate in their own race years ago. They keep saying that Curtis Sliwa works for Zohran Mamdani. Right there is the proof that it's Zohran Mamdani and Andrew Cuomo who are working together. The histrionics you saw on stage is the World Wrestling Entertainment. You know how people go in the ring, and I love WWE, I love wrestling, but it is entertainment in the end. When you cut a promo on someone and you say, you did this and I did that, and it's all theater, and then you go on the back and you're like, great match, great whatever. Look at the crowd reaction. That's what you saw yesterday. And it was schoolyard kind of behavior, which President Trump introduced this into politics, but it is only President Trump that could get away with it. Anyone else that does it, it looks very unprofessional. It looks like an ad hominem attack. And you don't have anything to say policy-wise, so you start attacking people personally. And it got like that again on stage, and it was a shouting match. And the only person, the elder statesman in the room, Curtis Sliwa, looked like that. He rose above the two voices that sounded like children. And I do want to admit here in watching, Zohran Mamdani was visibly sweating, not comfortable. And I think the entire mystique of this guy, look at that. I don't know why he's sweating so bad. I mean, you didn't see Cuomo and Sliwa sweating. This guy was sweating because to live up to this moment, you're seeing what I've been telling you. I don't know this guy personally. And I don't care about his religion and all this other crap people throw at you. He is not ready for this job. You know how I know? He wasn't ready to be a state assemblyman. He likes to be in the limelight. He's got a lot of money. He goes out of town. Like, he likes to live the life and say, I'm a sitting assemblyman. But we here on the Sal Greco Show pointed to you, he never voted for a bill. He's absent from the state assembly. That's nice. Andrew Cuomo mentioned all these things. I wonder where he got that from. We were saying this for months. We had Ed Ra, a sitting assemblyman, tell you this months ago, long before Andrew Cuomo even thought that Mamdani would be, his rival. And I want to point out that Andrew Cuomo, they want Mamdani to be in the race because Andrew Cuomo can't win the race because people don't respect him. So what's the next thing what you do when you don't respect you? People need to fear something. So the fear-mongering, what we're going to get to, that's been going on is all of the Andrew Cuomo camp because he can't win a majority of the votes unless you're terrified of, what did he say this morning? Another 9/11? Is that fear-mongering to the 20th degree, or is it not? Okay? He needs to say this because you're not going to vote for him, because he did have his nursing home scandal. He did introduce cashless bail. He did introduce the discovery laws. That is all. Congestion pricing, another wonderful idea of his. He is a failed governor, and he had an inept state government with him. He was cutting backroom deals with the state legislators, so the state legislation did whatever he wanted. This is Andrew Cuomo's legacy. His record is atrocious. So he has no record to run. He knows how to do everything, and he's lying. And I don't want to bring up the sexual harassment stuff, but those 13 victims that were in there, he said he was not dropped out of these lawsuits. It's a fact. You could pull this up right now. He's in the lawsuit, and the state is defending him. And it did cost $20 million. But, it was mentioned once or twice, but to keep beating a dead horse is not a good look either. Because everyone knows, okay, the guy's a sleazebag, and he's costing taxpayers millions of dollars. We know that already. So, Mamdani's trying to drill that message home. It's a little too much. We already know this. It was already mentioned early in the debate. So, again, they need Mamdani. It's just that Mamdani became the little monster that Cuomo and Eric Adams created, because the both of them could not win on their own merits. So they fearmonger in order to get themselves elected. That's what they thought. And with Curtis in the middle, that's their wrench, because people flock to the most honest person, which is Curtis, and the best campaign, which is Curtis, and the one that's resonating with their message, which is Curtis. They have nothing to run on. Their record's atrocious. They don't have any. Their policies, all three of them are the same, like I keep saying. Mamdani can't even give you an answer on things. He couldn't even say, yes, this is my position. Oh, I don't know yet. I don't know yet. Early voting's in 24 to 48 hours. It starts Saturday morning. You don't know yet. So this is what you're voting for if you're going for this guy. Chronicles of Collapse says Cuomo failed in every possible way. Yeah, and so did Mamdani. And that was the moment you see him absolutely collapse. He collapsed big time last night. And again, there was no, what is his policy positions on things? He's shifting around, and Curtis hit him where it mattered. How are you going to pay for these free bus rides? Which, by the way, there are free bus rides right now because the criminals attack the bus drivers and don't pay for the tab. Same thing in the subways. And clearly these guys, him and Cuomo, had no idea about public safety. Hire a bunch of cops. Where are you going to put them? And so Mamdani he looked lost. He doesn't even know what a juvenile or changing that from 16 to 18. That law, by the way, that was raised the age, which is Cuomo's disaster. If a 16-year-old committed a crime, a violent one, like Curtis said when they attacked his own son just a year ago, they go to family court instead of criminal court. They're right back out and doing the same thing. That's the point of charging a 16-year-old with a violent felony. I don't know that assault 2 or assault 1 as a 16-year-old should be tried as a juvenile crime where you just go to family court. That's ridiculous, okay? And that's part of the problem. So that was an awesome debate by Curtis, but let's show some highlights of this. I just wanted to get into a couple of things just to set the table. So this, I believe, was the opening statement from Curtis.
Thank you. It's us versus them. It's us versus the insiders and the billionaires. It's us versus Cuomo. It's us versus Zohran. This is a campaign not about power. This is a campaign about you, the people. And I know many of you hardworking New Yorkers, you tell me you've been pushed aside, you've been silenced. These are the people that have all the money, all the connections. They've made their backroom deals, but we have something more important. We have you, the people. And we're not going to be silenced anymore. We're going to fight. Tonight, I want you to look at the content of my policies, to know that I've served this city for more than 50 years, the city that I love. And I'm going to share with you my vision to make New York City safer again, to make New York City more affordable again, and where everybody once again can live the American dream.
You know what that sounded like? That sounds like the next mayor of New York City. That's what a mayor should be talking about, should be saying, and what they, present themselves to be. That's the way a mayor should be talking. Not like Mr. Mayor of Nightlife, okay? Not like Andrew Cuomo, who's a smug, arrogant, he's just a jerk. I mean, that's the best way to describe the guy. And Mamdani, who has this big smile on his face, and you could tell he's very uncomfortable because he doesn't have an answer other than the script. He's been saying the same script over and over again. I've been saying this, I don't know for how long. It's just, there's more. So this is Curtis. I believe he took his remarks in the debate, some of them actually when he took a swipe at both Mamdani and Cuomo, but he did it in a substantive way, we'll say.
Zohran, you talk about free, free, free. But we know that somebody's got to pay for it, and that's you, the taxpayers. And that's going to lead to bankruptcy. The only reason that Zohran is on the stage is because of the failed Governor Cuomo, who was rejected by the Democrats in the primary and rejected by 13 women who charged you with sexual harassment. Do you ever know that no means no? You know what no means?
Your question is to Mr. Mamdani? Who was your question
well, we can bifurcate it, right?
No. You can't. Who was your question
It's to Cuomo.
Okay. Your response, Mr. Cuomo.
I'm not sure what the man said, but the situation, my legal situation, as we discussed before, was fully litigated. I was dropped from the cases. If anyone has a legal situation to talk about, I think it's Mr. Sliwa, who runs the Guardian Angels, and apparently as a charitable donation, but never filed any tax returns for the Guardian Angels, and has been accepting charitable donations, which is just a crime and tax fraud. So I think that's the person who I was explaining to do.
Okay.
This guy lies through his teeth, number one. That part with Curtis, which they keep rehashing, someone that was running and was helping him run, I think he was the president or vice president, he actually got indicted for this. And they're paying whatever. The Guardian Angels had no idea what this person did. So they're using a straw man to try to put their little point across because they're terrified of Curtis if he wins, because then they all have problems. There's no more freebies, Cuomo then says, I've been taken out of the case. Again, no, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. They are still litigating those cases, which you, New York City and New York State taxpayer, you're paying for his legal defense and his settlements. Just so you know, he is lying through his teeth. I don't expect anything else from a friend of Eric Adams, who last night he again was hanging out with the guy after he made a mockery of himself on the debate stage. Look at this. Eric Adams, great win for the Knicks. We need to win for the city. Can't go backwards. So you got the criminal and the nursing home scandal guy together. These two guys with two peas in a pod. Remember they were going after each other? Yeah, WWE, like I said. Somebody wake up Frank Carone. I think Frank Carone set that up. Look at these guys. Look, you got to love this little meme. There you have it. That's what they should be wearing. I'm sure it's in their back pocket somewhere. Maybe they picked it up when they went to Sobro Gardens. Who knows? Maybe Fat Joe gave him one of those, Because we all know if Fat Joe could vote, he'd probably vote for Curtis. Look at that. That's what the Cuomo should walk around in. Him and Eric Adams. So then there's the post-debate. Curtis was on X. He released a video. So let's play this one for you.
I just got off the debate stage. I won the debate again. But this is a battle. Up until November 4th, we got to get the vote out. We've got to start early voting this Saturday. I'm going to be the first to vote because our mission that I've shared with all of you is to make New York City safe again, to have affordability again, and naturally to give everyone an opportunity at the American dream. But the only way we can do that is if you come out and vote. You get your friends and neighbors and others to vote. And you got to start Saturday with early voting right on up to November 4th. We can win this. We can save the city. And we can prove the naysayers, billionaires, and influencers wrong. Because I'm not dropping out. We're moving to be victorious on November
and that crowd is totally organic. Nobody paid for them to be there. Everyone that was outside the debates, that was all voters for Curtis Sliwa. They all came to support him. Now, Mamdani supporters across the street, are they really there? Is that organic? Or, as you know, with all the straw donations he's getting, he's paying people from all over the country to show up because it's not really organic, the support that he has. He does have support because, again, New York City has tons of low information voters, but they don't show up to anything Mamdani does. It's going to be a small little percentage of people unless you motivate them by paying them. So that's always one of the things on the agenda. And the next video I have is Curtis went on Hannity right after the debate. So let's see what Curtis had to say on Hannity.
There's a novel idea here, Sean. We need to let the people decide. There is a silent majority here of angry Americans who have decided to improve and not move, want to fight for what they know is right, and they have a champion in me, and they need to be heard. Because Zohran Mamdani, he represents an elite class of Democrats, Socialists of America who never had to do blue-collar working class work. And as you know, Andrew Cuomo has spent his time in the Hamptons with the billionaires. So who better than to feel for the people who've got to use the subways, walk the streets, deal with crime? Sean, as I've said a million times, we live in New York City where we lock up toothpaste and we don't lock up criminals. And if people need to know who Curtis Sliwa is, I'm Rudy Giuliani 2.0. I can do what Rudy did back in '93, and then the next year, George Pataki beat the better Cuomo Mario. Next year, after I get elected mayor, Sean, with your help, we get Elise Stefanik elected the next governor, take out Kathy Hochul, and bring sanity, security, and common sense and no corruption in New York City and New York State, just like Rudy and Pataki did.
Folks, that is the idea here. That's what New York actually needs. And, hey, things may not go that way because people say the numbers and all this other stuff. But look, that's what you need to hope for. That's what you need to go out there and make sure it happens because you need to vote. Okay. And just like Special Hagen said here, they showed Sliwa's apartment with his wife. He lives like many working class New Yorkers. It's humble and modest. He's not a fraud. And I could attest to that. I know the man. He lives in a tiny apartment. He loves this city and he fights for the people in the city. That's the truth. He's not a fraud. He's not one of these politicians that tells you something and won't live up to it. It's 100% true. And I understand. And how the ex-course said about calling Hannity a rhino. Hannity though has a big audience, and people like there are a lot of progressives that watch Fox News, even though they don't want to admit it. And it's important for them and independents that watch to see what Curtis Sliwa had to say, because there's a lot of propaganda on Fox News. But Hannity is one of the highest rated shows. So if you're on his show, you can beat back some of the rhetoric that goes against you. So I'm not against him going on. I think it was an excellent idea. And by the way, you're right. Hard X course says Mamdani lives in rent control, but wines and dines in expensive restaurants, just like someone else, right? And he got hit for that by Curtis Sliwa as well. Curtis hit him with everything that matters. Before I show you the next video, though, there was something that happened just today about a Miami basketball players. All these guys getting locked up for gambling, all this crazy stuff. And you know where I got that first? Once again, it was Free Spoke. I go on the phone and this Free Spoke notification pops up. Like, what's this? Chauncey Billups getting indicted. So let's hear about Free Spoke and how you can join Free Spoke and listen to all the headlines that are unbiased. I know you surf the internet and you search for things on a search engine and you don't get what you're looking for. Well, I have a solution for you, and that's Free Spoke. Free Spoke is a search engine that does everything without all the restrictions and all the censorship, and there's no porn ads. Free Spoke is about authenticity rather than agendas. Labels media bias, no intrusions or data leaks. No porn ads, like I said, unlimited, unbiased AI. Also, deep dive podcasting. You can look it up. Go to freespoke.app.link/Greco. Download the app. You could also use the same link to get 35% off the premium subscription, which would be well worth it. Try it out. freespoke.app.link/Greco. Yeah, folks, and also use the promo code Greco35 to get the 35% discount on a premium subscription. It does everything. It has AI in there. Also, you have unbiased searching. So when you search for something, you're going to get not the biased headlines and all. You know, they like to also look at your data. You could type in Curtis Sliwa, and you're going to see things that you don't see when you type it in on other search engines, or Eric Adams, or whoever it is, President Trump. You want to see headlines about Israel. You want to see headlines about Qatar. You'll see it all unbiased. And you could also, if you want, if you lean Democrat or Republican or independent, you actually could set that in the settings, just so you know. So check them out on FreeSpoke. Use my code to go on to download the app. And then also Greco35 to use your promo code to get 35% off the subscription. And it's well worth it, because I didn't even know about what happened until it popped up on my screen that Chauncey Billups was indicted today, of all people. And he's an NBA player. So what a crazy, that's a whole nother thing. I mean, people doing criminal acts out there, you know, multi-million-dollar basketball players even doing that stuff is insane. But we'll get to that maybe later. So I wanted to show you this is another video. This one's about Zohran Mamdani. It's one of his wonderful moments last night.
You know, if you want a candidate for mayor who tells you everything that he cannot do, then Andrew Cuomo should be your choice. If you want a candidate for mayor who will use every tool at their disposal, including the 9 appointees at the Rent Guidelines Board, all of whom are appointed by the mayor, then I am the candidate for you.
Nothing.
Yeah. The problem is these two guys are the architect and the apprentice. It's exactly how Curtis is saying. Mamdani is giving you, I mean, they both give you the same kind of rhetoric. It's the same person, whether you vote for one or the other. And having Adams in the middle endorsing Cuomo, which, look, he was never going to be mayor again. I told you that a long time ago. You can't get indicted and be taken out of the indictment and have your charges dropped because you know the right people, because there is a two-tier justice system. Even under President Trump, sorry for saying it, but it is true. You're not going to get elected mayor, though. And him and Cuomo have the highest unfavorability out of any candidate, like 70% each. So I don't know how Cuomo thinks he's going to – you cannot win an election with that high of an unfavorability. It's never happened in the history of New York City elections. So I keep pointing this out. But you know what no one pointed out, other than my producer, Jack Stern, actually, but on this last program, I had a clip, and now that clip is finally hitting where it needs to hit. Although we now learned, because of my producer, Jack Stern, we learned that TikTok, right? TikTok has given money to Zohran Mamdani. And here we have straw donors, more straw donors from Zohran Mamdani. How do we know? Let's see. Michael Borgman from Brooklyn, from TikTok, $2,100. Alicia Burns-Wright from TikTok, Policy Council, $100. Who's this? Mackenzie Deary, TikTok, Policy, $25. Another $25 from Kira Hellberg, TikTok. TikTok again, Rebecca Hoving, another $22. But $2,100 came from the BPM of TikTok. So TikTok's giving Zohran Mamdani money, which is why when you go on TikTok, if you even put up a video, anything in opposition of him, it will, it doesn't go into the algorithm. You actually get knocked down. And Chinese-owned TikTok allegedly meddling in New York City mayoral race by boosting Mamdani content over Cuomo. They actually are boosting his content also over Curtis Sliwa. I know the Post doesn't want to mention his name. That is a fact. And right there are the donations. Okay? But then if you look a little further into Mamdani, he also has foreign donations, which is a felony. Okay? He has 170 donations that come from a foreign country. Remember, you have the now current mayor, who's a disgrace and is going to be a soon-to-be former mayor. He took foreign donations from Turkey, from China, and he got indicted for taking bribes on top of that $10 million worth of matching funds. Why did he get indicted for that? But yet Mamdani now doesn't get indicted. So you can look on the list, there's more donations on it. There's more straw donations. I showed you just a couple on the last episode, but I give you an example here. Omar Abdul Hadi from orthopedics, right? Franciscan Orthopedics, $250. Okay, it's a physician. From, where is that? Gig Harbor, Michigan? Washington State. These are out-of-state contributions from people. You know, you're going to have to go through hula hoops to find who these people are. Okay? James Furlord from Coconut Grove. Where is that? Coconut Grove. I can't even get the right address on that. Coconut Grove. A Commonwealth Scientific environmental scientist, $2,100. Definitely not a New York City resident. Coconut Grove. Like, where is that? You know, look, there's a list of straw donors. You go to whitecollarfraud.com. Sam Antar's already pointed this out and laid this all out for you. They get straw donations from 501c3 companies. It's funny how they keep mentioning guardian angels on the Cuomo, but they have 501c3s that give contributions. That's what you need to look out for, and they use straw donors. Mamdani is already walking in wounded. You want to call it that he's bleeding out. This man, if he becomes mayor, will be in the crosshairs of the DOJ. You can mark my words, and I don't want to hear it's political or anything, because the crime is committed right in front of your eyes. The Campaign Finance Board already has this. This will be investigated thoroughly, and I'm pretty sure the federal government will jump in, just because if this guy says anything or does anything that ends up in the crosshairs of Trump or anyone that he has running the government, that will trigger their investigation, or they're doing it right now. You really don't know, but he committed the crime and he gets elected. He's going to pay. Write that down. It's just the way it is. I'm just pointing it out to you, and how no one brought this up last night or is bringing this up. Zohran Mamdani is Eric Adams 2.0, and I think we kind of told you that already. But people still, what can I say? They like to do and say, you know, whatever, and try to debunk us, which is crazy. But I'm going to bring on a guest now, and we'll discuss this more. Actually, Jack Stern said that it's Coconut Grove, Australia, which is a foreign donation. That makes that a felony. I couldn't tell because it's Coconut Grove, and it doesn't make any sense. I don't even know what it is in this country. I know it's Coconut Grove, Florida. It didn't say Florida. Coconut Grove, Australia, that's a foreign donation. That is a felony right there. Just folks, it's right in front of your eyes. People on TikTok saying, oh, you're making this up. No. You go on a Campaign Finance Board and you could pull it up. Coconut Grove, Australia. Someone from Coconut Grove, Australia donated to Zohran Mamdani's campaign. Does anybody think that this is, like this is legitimate? This is what you want as your mayor? Because you just had the same thing now. And then here's one. PB says New York City had 9.3 million before Hochul and Adams crushed their residents for illegal aliens. That's crazy. But I keep pointing this out. You will trust me. Coming from law enforcement, I can tell you that there will be an investigation, if not going on right now, for Mr. Zohran Mamdani and his campaign. You can mark it down. The straw donations are in your face. The foreign donations are in your face. Those are all felonies. And this is how you can control a mayor or break him. And by the way, the guy that would take over for him, the public advocate, Jumaane Williams, he had straw donations as well. This is something that never stopped, this 8-to-1 matching fund. But I can tell you, for all the Curtis Sliwa haters and all these Bill Ackman acolytes and Cuomo people that work for him, Curtis has never done this with any of the money. But the people you guys associate with, take a good look. You'll find what I'm speaking about right in front of your eyes. So without any further ado, I'm going to have my guest on. You've had him on before. He's a former NYPD cop. now retired, and he's got his own case to give an update about, and that's Ilbey Aykac. Ilbey, how are you, brother? How's everything?
Hey, how you doing? I'm good. How's everything with you? Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, I know I went a little long with everything, and just because there's so much going on with that. So I don't know if you want to give us your take on everything. I know you watched you were watching the debate also. So let's give us your thought. I mean, you saw them talk about public safety, and it's like Mamdani and Cuomo have no clue about public safety.
No, I mean, like, first of all, I want to say, I'm Muslim. So I said this before. And if I'm going to vote, I'm going to vote for who's better for the city, state, town, county, or the country, for the people itself. And when Curtis opened up, I mean, I'm not favor of all three of them. I'm going to be honest with you. But if I'm going to vote for the city, I will vote for Curtis because he's more for the people and public safety. And I go for whatever it's good for me, my family, and everybody else, such as he's a pro-cop, pro-military, and pro-people. But when Cuomo opened up the debate yesterday, first thing he says is "Go Knicks, go Knicks, go Knicks." Like I don't understand why you're advertising. I don't understand why you're advertising a $1 billion basketball franchise when you running for mayor debate. You're doing a debate, and Mamdani, he didn't have no clue. I don't even know what he was saying. So at least Curtis said, for the people, with the people, we're going to fight together. He didn't say nothing about me per se, because nothing done as a mayor, because they have to put it through the council. They got to put it through the assembly for it to pass through anyways. So they can't do anything by themselves. It's like the president of the United States. They can't do anything by themselves. They can sign all kind of executive orders all they want because they got to go through the Congress. They got to go through the Senate. It's same thing with the counties, same thing with the city, same thing with the state. So, and him getting money from foreign countries, there's a couple of reasons for it. If I'm giving you money and you're running for a mayor, I want something in return.
Correct.
I'm going to give you 10% because, like I said, I've been to Iraq 3 times. I was the middleman for contractors and the unit that I was working with. Those contractors who did the constructions, they were offering you money. Let me get the contract. Because it's $1 million of projects they running through. So them giving and him accepting money from foreign countries, it's ridiculous because at the end of the day, they want something back. So they're going to either run business or they're going to go one floor up. We've seen it with Eric Adams, what happened with Turkey. So and at the end of it, that's what they want. They want tax-free. They want lobbyists. If you look at Hawaii history, the state Hawaii, the last state of your United States, that's how United States got Hawaii, because of all those people who was renting and leasing the land. And then they got into the government. When they got into the government, they kicked the king out. And then at the end of it, Hawaii became a United States state. So that's how it works. And we've seen this past a couple of years back, China buying lands, renting properties in United States. That's how it starts. So far as my case goes, they denied me again on the 3/4 pension board. It just they said that I got the surgery late. It took me so long. But meanwhile, everybody else gets it after 30 years later of they claim.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That's.
How does that make you feel? You see another guy, a disgraced former chief. He gets 3/4 pension. He's also got that whole federal enhancement he's looking to get, right? Or his bum ankle. I think he was getting wheelchaired in to WABC studios. I don't know. I mean, I saw him sitting in a chair without a problem. He was moving around on one of those interviews. He gets approved for 3/4. No problem. Here you are. How many times have you put in for this?
I didn't even, the thing is, I didn't even put in for it. They surveyed me out. They surveyed me out. They said I'm not medically fit. So I was restricted for 5 years, 3 LODs back to back. And then I don't want to get a surgery because spinal surgery, back surgery,
Right,
I hear horror stories. And then I got the spinal surgery 2 years later, maybe 3 years later, because I said, you know what? I got a good doctor. He was confident. I was confident with it. I got it. And then I was like, okay, because after the district orthopedic said, oh, if you're not getting cut up, you're not going to get 3/4. So I got the spinal surgery. Here I am. I got denied. And they gave me ordinary at the medical board. And I got denied at the pension board. It's just that. And they claim stuff from 30 years ago. They walk in, they get the 3/4 approved. My monthly pension is $3,700. Their monthly pension is about $20,000. Now they're gonna get $40,000 pension, tax free, and I'm gonna keep on paying the taxes. And I'm the working man. I work my behind of 17, at least 15 years of my career. I mean, you can look at the record too. So it's just shame. It's ridiculous. I don't know what it is. Like, you have to know somebody. I don't know if it's my, I don't like to use my religion as an excuse. I don't want to use my ethnicity as an excuse, but you look at it and I see people with one surgery, one accident, they get it within like this. I knew people in the department. If I know how to work my way around it like people do, I would have retired as a first grade detective right now. Or maybe I would have get my 3/4. But I don't want to do that. I worked. That's the thing.
No, this is disgusting. It's like I see Hassan in there. He's a friend of ours. He likes to he always gives me a little shiners on here. He's a funny guy. He says Allah will grant you justice, brother. You can't hide from God doing all this haram. What he's saying is true. I believe you're being Ilbey. This is ridiculous that you have everything documented 5 years and they treating you like you're a nobody and you're nothing, and they gave 3/4 to someone who clearly doesn't deserve it.
Listen, this is how we work. I'm gonna tell you. I don't want to get into it more because we're talking about the mayor debate, New York City. They didn't want to give me my gun. I told you this already because of the drugs I was on. So I made a couple of phone calls to politicians and congressmen and all that stuff. And then when they heard of it, they called me the next day. It's sad. Like, what do I have to go through the congressman or legislator to get what I deserve? Everything is there. It's on black and white. It's not like, it's really sad. I shouldn't be going through. As soon as they heard the politician's name, they called me the next day. Oh, the district surgeon said, okay, you're okay to go get your guns qualified. If you don't qualify, you don't get it. But if you qualified, you get it. I was like, okay, that's all I wanted to ask. Are you giving me the runarounds for 4 years? Like, I'm not a little kid. I'm not a doctor either, but I know my body. This is my body. So you telling me, oh, you're not hurt. How you know? I mean, you're not in my body. So how you gonna tell me?
How there's got to be a remedy though, because this bothers me. You served this country with in a top distinction, and you literally laid your life on the line for the country and the city. Okay, you get hurt because you're doing your job for the city, and the city and the job is what they're doing is turning their back on you personally.
Three times, not once, 3 times. And the second time I was restricted, they put me as a cell attendant. And as a cop, I know as a cop that we're not supposed to do that, but they put me anyways. But I did my duty because I know that guy was hiding something in his private area. And I went in there and boom, I was waiting for drugs, but end up being breast knuckles. So I'm wrestling with this guy in the cell by myself. And then I got hurt again. That's the second time. The third time is the COVID. This Cuomo goes about all this stuff that he did. He didn't do nothing for the state. I'm sorry. You changed the bridge name to your father's name without consulting anybody. Why do I want to see your father's name on a bridge? I want to see somebody like Master Sergeant Hornback. If you look at it, he died in action in Iraq for a stuff that, you know, he deserved to have his name on there. Or somebody else, Montez, from where I live, he died in action in Iraq. His name should be on there, not your father's name. And you didn't even consult anybody. You didn't even ask anybody to do it. And plus, the harassments they did 13 times. If it was you and me, they would have hang us. You know, they would have make us go through the stuff. Now, and the funny part is that these people still go through with this stuff. You seen this guy, how he handled COVID. And we all know what the COVID was all about. I mean, you could call me conspiracy theory or whatever you want to call it. That's my opinion. And that's why I became an American. That's why I renounced my citizenship to be an American. I have single citizenship. So when I run for mayor or something, I could proudly say I am a single citizenship, not like Bobby. You know, he still have his dual citizenship. What is he going to do? He's going to scam the city and then run to another country, claim that country? I mean.
But you're a veteran. You have something that Mamdani and Cuomo they can never have. You fought for this country. You went overseas, and then it feels like everyone just turned their back on you, and you got hurt because you did your job. Not like you went out of your way to go, I want to break my own back, and they literally giving away pensions to their crony friends. 3/4 pensions to someone who drinks at the bar with them. Oh, hurt my ankle, but he's fine to walk into WABC studios, and they're playing games with you when you're the guy legitimately. Also, I believe you have everything documented because you've been in and out of the hospital and the doctor for years now. Why are you being denied when they just hand it over to people like this? The gentleman that we keep reference to, I don't even want to mention his name. He's a disgrace.
I mean, he is, because like I told you before, when I walked in there, I was talking to the district orthopedic, another biggest scam that department has. I don't even know why they paying all these civilians a whole bunch of monies. They can have their own people. But, who am I? I'm not the mayor of the city. I could be. I think I could run the city way better than any of those people who claim they can run the city. But the chief of the commissioner at the time, he was a commissioner. He retired finally. He walks in and he said, "Okay, chief, you got your 3/4." I was like, I'm listening to this conversation. I was dumbfounded. I was like, yo, I've been fighting for 5 years, and he just walks in, he get his 3/4 after he got his chief pension. Like, I don't get it. And then he got hurt maybe 30 years ago from that.
This is what I'm talking about. People don't know this because they need to hear your story over and over again. And the fact that you're still dealing with this and it's still the same answers, and how medical discrimination, that is the number one thing the New York City Police Department is known for. And the city is, they discriminate against you for medical reasons. But they don't say that outright, but their behavior here, it's, oh, well, he's hurt. He's no good to us anymore. But meanwhile, you got hurt because of them. And, I see Samara Cohen mention your partner got injured too, right? Didn't he have a problem? Remember he's saying, and then he has the same issues because I guess you guys aren't white shirts. You weren't any, you weren't partying with these guys in nightclubs and giving booster bags to get promoted. You would have been a first grader had you done that,
No, I mean, like I said, it's just sad. I'm not looking for the money. I'm not looking for anything else. I'm just looking for, give me what I deserve. You're looking at the guy who has half a time on me, and then he gets he's hurt. I don't want to say his name. I like the guy. I'm not mad at the guy getting his 3/4. I'm mad at the system who's making that happen, because he gets hurt before he joins the job. Then he joins the job. He gets hurt from the same place. And then he gets a surgery. He sits behind a desk and he gets a detective shield. On top of that, he gets his 3/4 within 10 months, a year. And then he leaves the job on a 10-year mark. And then now he's getting tax-free money, 3/4 as a detective. Now I'm the one who's given the runarounds after 3 LODs, 2 surgeries, and they recommend another surgery for my back. And you think I wasn't even going to get the next surgery till he made that comment. But it's just sad. I'm looking at another guy who gets it. I'm looking at my partner who got hit by a dump truck. They give him all the hell because, the funny part is they didn't like him because we knew they didn't like him. I know they didn't like him. So they gave him hell. I hope he got it by that time. And I don't want to, Joel Ramirez say, why don't you say his name? I don't know. I didn't talk to him. I talked to him. I didn't talk to him before. I want to get his authorization before I say, like I said, I like this guy. So I don't want to put his name out there. So I want to ask his permission first. And Lieutenant Ramirez, like one of the good lieutenants that I work with right over there.
Yeah.
And, a lot of those lieutenants that I work with, it's worth nothing. It's just all for themselves.
I'm telling you, you have a good rap amongst the coworkers. Unlike some people, like people really respect it. This should not be happening to you. I get frustrated hearing this because, in a just world, people would be held responsible. I can go down a list with these comments. Sleepy Joe says, just accept the survey, kid. I'm sure you've heard. I hear that in the locker room. I hear these. That's how cops talk. The union will tell you, just accept the survey, kid.
No, we had a PBA delegate. His name was John Kelly. He said, "Oh, just take it. There's nothing you can." What was his famous word? He had a famous word. Don't fight the system. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm not just gonna take something that is not there. Your job is to defend me or do whatever it takes to defend me. Don't tell me just take it. 5 days of vacation days is not an easy day to lose, or 2 days or 3 days, even 2 hours. You telling me to take it. Like, no, I'm not. I'm going to fight for it. I don't care what it is. What is wrong, wrong. What is right. But
this is what I'm talking about. Like, that's what people don't realize. That's what you're dealing with. So when this happens to you, your own union delegate tells you, just accept it. Don't worry about it. Don't fight so the system, if they come after you a little bit, you're supposed to sit there and go, I love it. I know I didn't do anything wrong, but I love it, just to stay quiet. And then they're going to swallow you up. Whether you fight or don't fight, they're going to swallow you up because they want to be in charge, even though what they're doing is wrong, immoral, and illegal. That's the three things. But you're supposed to be quiet, Ilbey. You didn't know that because the delegate said so, because he's hanging out with those guys, by the way. He gets his little car, his gas, all this stuff taken care of, but not you. You go out there, make arrests, get hurt, and then we throw you to the wolves, Ilbey.
The next mayor, whoever comes in, if they want to fix NYPD or whatever the case may be, they have to fix the favoritism and biasm first. Remember those millions of dollars they teach these cops? They send us training for bias classes. They spend millions of dollars of overtime, the federal funding overtime, to go to those trainings. But meanwhile, this happens constantly. Same thing with, I don't want to say, maybe I can, OEO, the unit itself. They said, they won't find out about your allegation. You're going to be anonymous. Next thing you know, by the time you get to the command, everybody know your business.
Yep.
So there's no consequences for that. But meanwhile, if I go to OEO on my tour hours, I get jammed up. There's no consequences. Them giving my information to the command.
This is I hate the way things are run. Annette says, good afternoon, Sal. So good afternoon to you, Annette. Ron Lason's in the comments, he's the co-pilot on the Executive Perspective. He was in our chat with us last night. He says, not all white shirts are rubber stamped. And I'll give you this. Ron Lason, as an inspector, got denied 3/4 himself as a white shirt because he's not part of that club,
Exactly.
Which is why he's with us, because Ron, he got denied with everything documented as well. If he was someone else with his bum ankle, he would have got it. He would have got his 3/4. So he does talk about this on the show. He got denied 3/4, just like you. So he is right. They don't just rub. It depends who you are. So it's a club. This is a club, and if you're not part of it, then you get swallowed up by it. And I try to tell people this every time. Ron is a perfect example as an executive who got denied 3/4 with documentation. And you getting denied a bunch of times, 3 times you get hurt, 3 line of duties. That's not enough. Ilbey, you're not hanging out in the right place, or you're not the mayor's friend, or you didn't agree with the delegates, so now they're holding that against you. How much you want to bet that there was a phone call made? I mean, I know it's a little bit, I'm just saying this out loud, but how much you want to bet some kind of phone call was made from the union?
I'm not betting you because I seen it. It's not like I'm not betting you no money because I seen it. Like I said, I seen all these politicians. They tell you what you want to hear. Like he was talking about housing, he was talking about kids, he was talking about minimum wage to $30. Okay, let's give everybody a $30 minimum wage. Who's going to pay for it?
Oh.
So let's give everybody a housing. Who's going to pay for it? But that's what I'm saying. You're going to use the city money, and then you're going to run out of city money. Now you're going to start taxing all these working people. You know what? At the end of the day, I could turn around and say, you know what? I'm retired. I'm getting my paycheck regardless. I'm not working. So I call it a day. And I said, yeah, whatever, let them deal with it. But who's going to pay for it? Those rich companies, we've seen it in COVID. How many people fled out of New York City? How many people run away? Look at Elon Musk. Elon Musk took off from California to Texas. Why? Because of the tax hikes. I mean, no brainer. Why are people getting parts from China instead of United States? Because it was cheaper. Now all these stuff coming through from customs is not that cheaper anymore. But they go quantity before quality. So he keep on talking about these housing. I worked in housing for almost 12 years. I've seen the projects. I know the projects. There's people who really need it, and there's people who scam the system.
Oh, yeah.
And nobody sits on it and say, millions of dollars, they give it to NYCHA all the time. And where that money goes? Somebody's pocket.
You actually, last night, you're talking about housing. Curtis Sliwa actually turned around and told Mamdani, because you're right, that housing, his minimum wage, all that stuff, you would bankrupt the city. He even said, you're going to bankrupt the city. He says the minimum wage, he's trying to cut the taxes for the small businesses, and actually the landlords and the tenants, he's trying to even that playing field, because that's a separate issue. And he wants to house people in these buildings, these big high rises in Manhattan that are completely empty. They were originally designed for business, but there's no office, nobody's there. So you could convert those very easily. You just pass something. I'm sure city council wants to do this. You pass this bill, you introduce it as a residential, and then you're going to have families that can't find a home, homeless shelters. They're going there now. They have an apartment. I don't understand why there are people saying that won't work. It will work. That's actually the only solution. Yet we heard Mamdani, he doesn't have a plan. I think he would. I don't really think, I'll be honest with you, I don't think he knows what he's doing. I think he's just there.
I don't think he does. I think he has, all these guys have, somebody in the background running the campaign.
Yep.
They did tell him what to do. They're like, listen, people like this, do this. You're seeing it in the movies. You're seeing it in the real life. Go with this because people like it. Go with that, people will like it. So that's how they get it. I mean, they don't know what they're doing. It's the same thing with, I came in as a Bloomberg, and then we had de Blasio, and we have Eric Adams. Bloomberg was great, the first one. The second one was okay. The third one, he just destroyed it. Yep. And then he handed it to de Blasio, and de Blasio destroyed it even more. Because if you look at de Blasio, what he started it, they get rid of the homeless unit. They create another one, millions of dollars. And then a year later, they shut it down. Where'd that money go? And you put in your wife, you put in your cousin, you put in your sister, you put in your daughter in charge of certain things. And then what they doing? Money scam. If you look at their network now, and after they get in the office, there's a big bump. How you making that with a salary getting as a mayor or president? But meanwhile, now you're multimillionaire at the end of it. So you're getting 10% from somewhere. And we talked about this before too, about the phones in the department.
Oh, yeah.
Phones in this department, how they get in finance? Who's paying this money? You're giving every cop a phone in the department, and who's giving that money? It's Apple phones. It's not a cheap phones either. So you're giving all these money. Who's getting the percent? Who's getting the cut from this? Because somebody is, because there's phones you can get it cheaper than Apple. So somebody's getting cut for it. And this printers we have in the RMPs that we never use.
You're right.
$20,000 tough boxes we never use. You have a ticket printers. in the RMPs. I never seen them used. And one of those computers costs $20,000. When Eric Adams changed the stickers on the RMPs, one sticker costs about $2,000-$3,000 just to change the RMP. So who's funding this? Where is this money coming from? Who's getting the 10% after this?
You're right about that. I remember the computer. So being in citywide traffic, they used those for summonses, because what they did is you would have to write a paper summons if you wanted to. But if you wrote a C summons or above, you got to write the paper summons and the one on the computer. So, and that paper is not easy to put into the printer. It was ridiculous. The whole system was like, what is this? Why do you need to print something? Just do it on paper and put it in a computer. But they want like 10 levels of accountability for something that's really minuscule that you could just look up typing on a computer. So what you're saying, I remember now, the computer thing is ridiculous because the printer had problems. The paper, you have to have your own paper too. If you don't have paper, you're done. So how are you going to print anything out? You needed another vehicle, Ilbey, to come by and if they had paper to put it in their system. And if the computer goes down, you can't print anything out.
We didn't even use it. They put all these new computers and printers in the RMPs when I was there. We didn't use it, not even once. Another funny part is, right, they've been wasting millions of dollars for these equipment, for the cars, fine and dandy. But meanwhile, you're giving me an RMP that doesn't have AC, and you want me to sit in the car all day long in 110-degree weather. And when I'm telling them, to fix the AC, we don't have the budget, we cannot get it fixed. But meanwhile, you're spending millions of dollars on all these computers and printers that we didn't even use, not even once. I don't remember using it. I don't know if they're using it now in PSA 5. So
yeah, no, I know. Hard Core says Mamdani never acknowledged that nonviolent EDP jobs can become violent in a second. He has no answer. He did have no answer. You're right.
No, they have no answer because they never been there. Like you look at Cuomo. Cuomo is one rich, cocky guy who been living with his daddy's money or his grandfather's money over the years. You never been into the street. You could talk about it all day, all you want about cops, how you defund the cops, but go out there and work with the cops for one day and you see the difference. See, these guys, they just talk to talk, tell you what you want to hear. Spend one day with one of these cops. Spend one day in one of these precincts. 7-5, PSA 5, 4-4. Go over there and see how the city works. See how these cops work. It's easy to say, Chief, you sitting behind the desk. And last time you went on patrol was 15, 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then they find the finest message to change the orders. Like, I mean, come on. Like patrol guide. Yeah, patrol guide. When it comes to me, it's a patrol guide. I got to follow it. But when it comes to your cousin or your nephew, because I said so. They change it in a heartbeat.
It's so like infuriating. 92 Charlie, Cuomo's a corrupt, recycled politician. That's what Ilbey's telling you. He's telling you that we all know that Cuomo, your problem is you have so many of these low information people that are just, Samantha Guccione says, I fear guys are stupid enough to vote for these idiots.
I mean, look at Zohran's net worth right now, $200,000. I don't believe that's correct.
Yeah, got 200. That's how he gets that stabilized rent. His parents are rich.
I don't think that's his net worth. I mean, if you look at your net worth, my net worth, I think we around the same time, but I don't think that's correct. That's one. And the next thing is, if he takes as a mayor and it seems like he's going to win and, whoever vote for him, they got what they deserve because you don't know what they coming because it's going to be worse than Bloomberg started it. De Blasio made it worse. Eric Adams didn't do nothing. I mean, if you look at the roadworks, you look at the traffic, you look at all these tolls and congestion prices, you look at all these rents. COVID was an excuse to raise up everything, kick people out, do all that stuff. I could give you an example of, remember, I was a cop. They were saying, temporary plates, let them go. Insurance, let them go. The inspection, let them go. Now they hammering everybody left and right for everything else. Same thing with the electrical vehicles. Get an electrical vehicle. You're going to have a clean clean pass. You're gonna have clean. Now, what happened to the electrical vehicles in New York State? Now you can't even ride in the HOV lane. All that money, all that propaganda, all that agenda they push through. Now you can't even drive your car because now you have a Tesla. You can't even drive it in the HOV lane. So what's next? They're going to raise up the tax money for electric. It's all scam. I mean, you look at the governor herself. She paid $81 million out of state money to build Bills' new stadium. Why?
No, it was 800 million. 800.
800. I've been corrected. 800. That's even worse. Yeah. So, and you telling me that these people are good for you? It's good for people, working class. I mean, forget about rich, because rich is rich regardless. You know what? They're going to pack and go somewhere else that works better for them.
Operational breadbasket. This is great. So Eric Adams did more today and yesterday than the last 4 years. That is hysterical, but he's got a point. Because what has Eric Adams done in 4 years? I mean,
what was his net worth when he started?
Oh, he was already worth. I'll tell you what. He had that brownstone. He got that property when he was a cop, but he did it in a very nefarious way. People don't know this, but you know, when he was part of 100 Blacks in Law Enforcement and he was the Grand Council of Guardians, there was a lot of shenanigans he pulled. He ended up borrowing money that I don't know if that money was ever paid back. I don't know if people know this. There's some stuff that went on with the Guardians, which is why there was this big clash with Eric Sanders at that time, because he was the president. And Eric Adams desperately wanted that position as president because he wanted the money. He wanted access to the money. This guy can't get a dime in his hand because God, you don't want to know what he does with it. So the guy he's been a crook his whole, from the days in the police department till now. So his actual net worth, I don't really know, because there's things that he has done that he has, and walking in, he was already a millionaire, multimillionaire, walking in to the state Senate when he left the NYPD with his pension.
I'm sorry, but you go to the New York City right now, this is what they do. So he's getting a lot of money for that. Text card, somebody's giving him under the table because they fixing the roads right before winter, and then winter hits, they destroying the road, and you don't see nothing until next winter. They fix it again. So that money scam right there. So he's getting money from those regardless. You go to Bronx side, there's always construction. They never finish construction.
See, yeah, Special Hagen saying that there are some outlets that say Adams is worth at least 16 million.
I'm sure it is.
That's a lot for a guy who's the mayor or sitting mayor. That is a lot of money. Who says he's broke, by the way?
No, he's not broke.
He can't afford it.
Even they say Curtis is broke. He's not broke either, because his net worth is $500,000 right now. So he's not broke either. He's a smart man.
No, he's just living. He's living in his means. Whereas,
exactly. He's not living. He's he doesn't want. He lives in his needs. So they not. Trust me, they not broke. If that's the case, we broke her. We worse than everybody else.
I know. Definitely, I would definitely be in that bracket with blue collar people. Ilbey, Yeah,
and then I'm fighting for stuff that I deserved 5 years ago. I didn't do overtime for 5 years, and then on top of that, I'm telling the chief that 8 months I'm gonna retire. I'm gonna have my surgery. I'm gonna retire. Boom! As soon as I get my surgery, I get transferred back to Harlem. Another half an hour drive. I don't understand. Guy, just leave me alone. I didn't do nothing to you. Let me stay in the academy. Let me do my time and then get out. And then, no, you're going to make it worse because I don't know what's going to happen. You're going to make it worse. You transfer me back to Harlem. So,
and the reason you're in the academy is because you can't move. You're facing all these issues physically. You're not scheming, but
and that's another thing. One chief or one commissioner comes, everybody got to go back to their precinct. The other one comes, everybody go to administrative work. You sending me to the PSA 5. I'm telling you, I don't have a gun. I don't have a shield. I have a spinal surgery. You telling me to stay at TS. Make it make sense to me. So what am I going to do at TS and PSA 5?
Oh, my God. This is the left hand and what the right hand's doing.
That's what I'm saying. It just power trip, authority. I don't know what it is, but whoever's coming in, they need to choose a better commissioner and choose something better because.
Oh yeah, well, Tish, the soccer mom, has a lot to be desired. I heard her name be mentioned last night. That's all window dressing, folks. Nobody's keeping her around. It's ridiculous.
They all pick them. You know, if they don't like you, you be gone, or they be gone within a year or two, like the commissioner before. Commissioner before that one.
I want just so you know, I'm going to get this up. Jack, get this up. Jessica Tish's family contributed to Zohran Mamdani's campaign. I don't know if people know that. We have that, so we're going to put that up on the screen when you find that, Jack. Zohran Mamdani got money from the Tish family, which is the only reason she's even being mentioned anywhere.
No, because the reason being is she can't donate it herself, so she has to do it through her family.
There it is. Look, 500,000, 100,000, 50,000. This is all the Tish family. Fix the City and Incorporated. That is Jessica Tish's, the soccer mom, her family contributing to Zohran Mamdani.
You know, they could say whatever they want to say. At the end of the day, they all fall under one propaganda, one agenda. They follow one person. They do whatever that person tells them to do. So they don't care about the people. They don't care about the city. Long as they get fat and the higher up, you know, get what they want, they fine with it. Like you could see it. You know, Tish is against something. Mamdani is. They don't agree on one thing, but meanwhile, Tish's family donated money to Mamdani. I don't see that. Like, I don't see how they relate to each other because they completely opposite of each other. So it's right in your face, Ilbey. And that's why Mamdani plans to keep Tish as the police commissioner, even bring that up. With all that money invested in him, how could you say no? Exactly. That's how they catch you, because when you hang out with these guys, there's always a guy in the background taking pictures and they hold it against you. You know, when you go over there, oh, remember that day? I got pictures. If you don't do what I say, I'm going to put this public. You know, it's a lot of them like that from A to Z, from senators to congressmen. So they all like that. Right. And then people that get elected, really elected by the people don't like it because the media doesn't, you know, advertise them much often.
This is that I wanted that pointed out and to show you just that this is why you're dealing with the police department is the police commissioner's family is donating money to whoever it is because they, I guess, maybe want to remain in power, they want a favor, whatever it is. That was a lot of money given to Zohran Mamdani from the Tish family, and that's all her own because they didn't want a favor. That's how this works, folks. I don't know if people realize that. So, just to go through some comments here, I see Samantha Guccione said, imagine we have money for illegals and not for Americans. We have to stop voting all the dirty politicians out. Our only hope is Curtis. I've been saying that, Special Hagen, it's going to be more of the same with Cuomo the crook and serial harasser. If that pick of Adams and Cuomo at the game last night didn't confirm it, I don't know what will. I agree. The lone silencer, how anyone could watch that debate last night and vote for Mamdani. The guy is allergic to answering a question. He was sweating profusely. It's like, oh, my God, this guy's having a bad night. Samantha Guccione said, if there is no longer money, we can lose our pensions. You're right. A hardcore X-Corps. Americans living on the streets and violent shelters, but illegals get hotel rooms. Make it make sense. Special Hagen, Mamdani looked overwhelmed last night. PB, Mamdani comes from money. It's called asset relocation. Net worth is cash assets directly in your name. If you insulate direct ownership, you can hide your assets in plain sight. He's 100. That's 100% correct.
Well, funny part is his father was expelled from Uganda. I mean, he didn't have a home or country to live in. He was a refugee for England once upon a time. So it just tells you now he's good with Uganda tight, and you're gonna turn around and say I'm American. I mean, I'm totally against it. You're born and raised here, or you do anything else, and then you go to another country to fight for that country. It's just against it. If I'm here, I'm born and raised. This is my country. Nobody's gonna take it away from me. So,
Marlon Bethel says he's saying it's about Zohran Mamdani. He's an elitist and corporatist, just like Cuomo. We've been saying this all along. This is proving everything. It's in front of your eye. Nobody does research, Ilbey. That's why a lot of people are low information. We're trying to help people out. It's all in documents, what you can find. It's what me and you used to do. You know, we used to lock people up for this stuff. You have to investigate people. You got to do the same with a politician. These people can make or break your life depending on what moron they put in the government. You know, inept government, Cuomo mentioned that. You know, he's the most inept governor probably of all time. So the idiots he put in charge destroyed the state along with himself, because he insulated himself too by going to the state legislation and making some backroom deal where they all agree with whatever the hell he wanted to do. So this is why this is important. And everyone always says, oh, it's the most consequential election in your lifetime. Well, folks, New York City's at a breaking point. Because you're right. I saw what Samantha Guccione was saying. Your pensions, Samara Cohen said, your pensions might be gone because you're bankrupt. So the little pension you think you're getting, they might have to go into that fund, because New York City is virtually bankrupt depending on who comes in next. Because you're going to have to make a lot of cuts. Curtis Sliwa told you. Federal government's making cuts. Trump wants cuts because America itself has problems. So the city and the state's going to have to do it. But they keep giving it free. Free's not going to work. Someone's going to pay, and no one's got money, Ilbey. No one.
No, but people, I mean, I don't understand it. Like I said, English is my second language. So I know to do research. I know to look through not just one thing, 2, 3. Now you have better opportunity. Back then when we was little, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have internet. All you believe or whatever you heard on the TV at the time, if you get a channel, or bookstore or library. Now you find everything everywhere. So you got to look at socialism. You got to look at the left wing. You got to look at their agenda. You got to look at their background. You got to look at what they did in the past as an assemblyman or a governor. You got to look at what their family did. They might not agree or disagree with their family, but they have some kind of ties. Like, I don't have to agree with whatever my brother doing or whatever party he's in, but I might go through the agenda. But these people, they just go by whatever they hear in the debate or whatever that's promised. You know, all these years, all your lifetime, how many presidents, how many governors, how many mayors you seen that promised you certain thing and made it worse? And they never follow up the promises they made. They tell you what you want to hear. In my 22 years of career in military, I heard a lot of stuff. I know the difference what I want to hear, and I know the difference if they're going to do it for me. So as soon as I know they telling me what I want to hear, I just walk away. Okay, whatever. Have a nice day. But I know they're going to follow up. I sit there, listen to them like a regular person. And same thing with the police department. Like when I wanted to go to crime at the time, they said, oh, yeah, there's a procedure to it. You know, you got to ride at 49. You got to do an interview. When they telling you that, I just walk away. And then I apply for another crime. Okay, you in. You're going to start Monday. So if they want you, they will take you. If they don't want you, they're going to tell you what you want to hear. So these guys wants the spot. They're going to tell you whatever you want to hear. Because there's no way you're going to change the housing 100%. You're telling me that you're going to do it. There's no way you're going to make the minimum wage $30 a person. It's unheard of. It's going to go from $16 to $30. There's no way. So, right. And then if that's the case, you know what? Get rid of the congestion prices. Get rid of the tolls. Those regular people who's going, lower the train rides, lower the gas money that you have. Fight for that. I know gas, doesn't go with the city or state, but you could do something about it. I mean, you could lower your prices on certain things in the city.
The problem is, Ilbey, that the gas, well, not the tolls, MTA, that's under the state's control, and the bridges. Basically, the bridges have been paid off for a long time. I mean,
you didn't hear Cuomo saying he's gonna make the phone call to the president. He's gonna go to the
that's ridiculous.
White House. No, why are you going that far? You could go to Albany and talk to the governor.
Nobody wants to see him in Albany.
Right? That's what I'm saying. if that's the case, go to governor's office, fight the governor for the congestion price, fight the governor for the MTA price or Long Island Railroad price. You know, all those people going to the city, millions of people travel every day. So you charging me $11, $20. I'm going through Arizona Bridge, $25 just to go through the bridge. It's insane. And you talking about minimum wage, $30. Who's going to pay for it? We're going to give everybody a housing. Okay, you're going to give a housing. What are you going to do about those people who got the housing from their grandparents and now they sub-rented the apartment in the projects to 5 different people and they live in the suburbs and drive in a brand new car?
Yeah, I know some people that tried that scheme. I know exactly what
they're still doing it. It's not, nobody follows up on it.
No, this is so frustrating. You're very knowledgeable. You could have a future in this if you want. I think what a dirty business this is. You saw how it worked out last night, and some of the clowns that are online, and now you have these online influence. I don't know what an influencer is, but they clearly out there being paid in tandem together to propagate things and put this idea in your head and cause division. We kind of had that last night on this X space with a couple of people, but unfortunately, after an hour, I had enough and had to smack them down, and they had no way of debunking the facts I was bringing as usual. So, I mean, it's all over the place. So this is a dirty business, and it's unfortunate because we have to deal with it if we want to move forward in life, because politics is everything. It's controls you need it, like what's going on in your neighborhood. It's who's in charge, who's the mayor, who's this, who's that.
It is, but the funny part is they should leave certain things as a politician. First of all, if you live in America, you should say America first. You should know how to say America first and American people first before anything else. And then second of all, leave the race out of it, leave the religion out of it. Then you'd be just fine doing it as a people. But these people, they always trying to appeal to somebody else's stuff. Like, it just like, oh yeah, I want to get your vote. And then they go with this language. I want to get your vote. They go with this language. Listen, just be American. I'm sure you'll be fine. You appealing with these race, to me, race don't matter. I don't care. To me, religion don't matter. As long as you're a human being, you're fine with it. But these guys, they always going through, like I said, Mamdani, I think I can't agree with one thing what Mamdani said, but rest of them, I don't, because I'm a conservative. And if I've got a word, if I can vote in the city, I will go for Curtis. That's all I can say. Cuomo, I will never, ever. I don't know. It's a shame that he still has a face and nerve to come up and run for mayor. That's the sad part. And people entertain it. And the percentage he's getting right now is crazy. You got to be out of your mind. I don't care how Democrat you are. I don't care how much of a Cuomo fan you are. 13 sexual harassment charges, 13 different victims. It's ridiculous. Like not one, not two.
And he lies. He lied about Ilbey saying, those I was taken out of those. No, he wasn't. It's still ongoing. Ilbey's got his name was never removed out of any case. He's such a liar, this guy.
Hell, 13 of them, and people still vote for this guy? Like, come on.
Low information. That's the bottom line.
And this guy wants to shut down Rikers Island. Do what? You're going to put prisons in every county, every borough, and then what? Those people who's paying their taxes, they want to live in peace. Now you're going to have prisons. You already have drug stations in every corner. I mean, you already have a lot of stuff going on that cops can't even do anymore. So
Marlon says it here. He's talking about the pensions. If the pensions fall, the most you'll get is a partial bailout followed by austerity cuts. Operation Breadbasket says, I know a female voting for Cuomo. She told me yesterday. Yeah, it's a mental illness.
It is.
It is. Samara Cohen's asking Ilbey, Catch had a liberal boss. How did you work together? Yeah, you work for a liberal? You had a liberal boss?
My sergeant was Puri Encore. What's the name of that guy? The Democrat Bernstein. I can't.
Bernie Sanders.
Yeah. He wants to, give people everything, but meanwhile, he has like 5 houses, 20,000 cars.
Yeah, I know.
He loved that guy. My boss loved that guy. But one thing we agreed on was with my liberal boss was he was a nice guy. You know, he was the people's people. We didn't care about what he believed, but at least he knew the hard worker. So I don't want to say his name here either. So and plus he was Jewish. I'm Muslim. So we get along. Like I said, I don't care about your religion. I don't care about your race. If you're a person, you good. You're good in my book. If it's not, I don't care. I love everybody the same way. I hate everybody the equal. So
that's why I said those are his homes, by the way. I never said anything about Zohran Mamdani's religion or his he's a communist. I'm looking at his A, policies, and B, his track record, because I think if I saw him in the street, more than likely you'd talk to him and probably get along in whatever you're talking about. You may not politically agree on things, but the way some of these people coming at them, Ilbey's like, he's a terrorist. He's all these things that is not proven.
It's not. I mean,
it's why I don't like that, because I don't like labeling. You got to label someone anything. It's got to be like, we know Eric Adams is a criminal. He's a thief. Why? Because he got indicted. He's got a see that's different than saying, well, this guy's a terrorist because why? And it's his whole campaign out there, Ilbey. And it's fear-mongering because they need to create a straw man because Cuomo's got no chance. And neither did Eric Adams. This is the leftover of Eric Adams, too. But I don't believe in calling people these things. You better prove that this person is what you're saying, because you're libeling this person. Meanwhile, his track record and his straw donations, and you already have this person in the crosshairs. Don't make this about religion when it doesn't. Because, Ilbey, you're Muslim. And I would take offense if somebody starts saying, "Oh, every Muslim's a terrorist or all jihadis." That's what kind of the rhetoric I'm hearing.
That's
not that. You fought this country.
I could tell you that before I go and pick up my son from school. I went to Iraq, so I'm sitting there. I could give you my life experience. I could speak for myself because I lived it. So these guys that they're with me, Air Force, Army guys, Haji. I said, "What do you mean, Haji?" "Oh, that's a Haji." I said, "What makes you think he's a Haji?" He said, "Oh, he's Muslim. He lives in this." How do you know he's a Haji? Do you even know what Haji means? He goes, "What do you mean? He's Muslim. He's Haji." I said, "No, I'm Muslim. So that makes me Haji?" I said, "No, I never went to Hajj." So, first of all, learn what you're saying and then go, jihadist. Okay, jihad. What's jihadist? Learn it. When they say certain things you say, everybody looks at you all different. Allahu Akbar. When they say Allahu Akbar, everybody, oh my God, it says God is the greatest. That's the translation to it. That doesn't make me no terrorist. That doesn't make me anything. You saying in English, God is the greatest. He's saying in Arabic, God is the greatest. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, I'm not even going to say non-educated people, you shouldn't be having an excuse, because there's a lot of stuff. You're on the phone all the time, 24/7. I mean, Google it. You can have that voice button on your phone. You could just put that voice. It tells you exactly what it is. So you have to be like a moron to learn what you're saying. Like what they were saying about him, I think it was wrong. He's supporting Palestine and he's the Hamas support. If you support in Palestine, that doesn't make you a Hamas supporter. If you support in Hamas, yes, obviously, Hamas is a recognized terrorist group.
Correct.
In most of the countries around. That's a different. If you support in Palestine and Palestinian people, that doesn't make you a terrorist.
No, that's what I keep saying. You're going after him for the wrong. This is what elevates him, because, if I was Muslim and I hear that, I go, are you saying this about me? But trust me, I've been in mosque with my friends. I've been in a synagogue with my friends. I go to church.
Exactly.
We'll attack people's religion because we all live together. I mean, I'd sit down with you, man. You're like my brother. I'd be going anywhere with you.
Yeah, but exactly.
Why are we trying to divide things?
And you Italian, right? So your background is Italian. So if you look at Christopher Columbus, I think Christopher Columbus is more Spanish than Italian itself.
Yeah, they say that.
But that's what I'm saying. If you look at the history, if you do your research, Christopher Columbus, they say, he's discovered all this stuff. But meanwhile, he discovered under who? Who supported him? He sponsored him. Whatever he discovered, till this day, they still speak Spanish. They don't speak Italian.
Correct.
So where did he die? He died in Spain. Where did he tomb? And in Spain. So do your research. Don't turn around and say, before you blame USA for everything, do your research. Before you blame USA for Hawaii, do your research. Who did it? Why they did it? Before you blame USA for Puerto Rico, do your research. Who did it before that? So it's out there, I'm just saying. And then, if you don't like USA, get out.
I say the same thing. If you don't like this country, why are you living here? Why you got bad things to say? Special Hagen said the comments about his religion are ignorant and racist. Mamdani's biggest danger is his lack of experience. Thank you. I've only said that a million times. Special Hagen speaks. One day, Special Hagen should be on the show, by the way. She's a brilliant lawyer.
She should.
She has a brilliant her blog that she's writing brilliant things on, and she's getting better and more because she hasn't done it in a while. She started writing about things. She is hitting the nail on the head. This guy has no experience. That is where you get him. You're not going to get him because look, whether he said something, he's against globalizing, defied, or whatever that is. Listen to me. He has no experience. He wouldn't know how to handle when they call the phone and go, we have a riot going on. These guys, what does he do? He won't know what to do. That's the point. He doesn't know what to do.
I think he's told a lot of stuff also. It's not just, I think somebody's.
Yeah, someone's in his ear. Someone's definitely in his ear.
I think somebody's controlling him also. It's not just him.
He's never been in the state assembly. He's barely there. He's got the worst attendance. That's a fact. We pointed that out numerous times, K1 Calendar says, Zohran Mamdani is not a terrorist. Zorada is a decolonial socialist, radical black socialist. His father's influenced a lot of terrorism, but then he says more. They're mixing up the fact that he's a radical socialist, radical black socialist with the fact that he's Muslim, and that's wrong. I think he's got a little bit of a point there. Again, I don't like to point to someone's race or their religion with things. It's definitely he just doesn't know what he's doing. That's the scary part.
But that's what I'm saying. I could go to the projects, the hardcore projects that, the crime aside. I could go into the building and talk to one of the residents there and said, I've been living here 30 years. I never heard of such a thing. Because they don't get out there. They don't deal with it. They just go home and get out. They're like, I don't know, there was a murder upstairs. They don't know. That's what I'm saying. These people, they sit behind a desk. You could live in Queens. That doesn't mean that you know Queens inside out. You got to get out there. If you're talking about cops, go with cops. Sanitation, go with sanitation. Spend a day with them. Or go with firefighters. Or go with somebody else. Go to the hospital. Spend it. But they just talk.
This guy doesn't. He has no idea. He really doesn't. He lives in a bubble. I've got to be honest. He lives in a bubble. He has a lot of, we'll say upper tier friends. He hangs around. You saw him. He goes to nice restaurants. The guy doesn't. This is not for him. It's like something in his resume. I was an assemblyman. I am the mayor. In the long run, he really doesn't care because he's lived a nice life. He's coddled by his family and his friends. He's not cut out for this. That's what I'm trying to say. He needs years of getting polished. I don't care if he's a Republican or Democrat. He needs to be polished in real world events, and he's not. He lives in this fantasy world, and that's why last night you saw it's like a little kid being put in front of a huge audience, and he's finally asked, well, whatever your name is, Joe, John, like, so what are you going to do when everyone's watching him? And he melted because he's never been put in this position. Just like a little child, when you're screaming at him in front of your family, he's going to melt. Your child won't know what to do because it's the first time he's been. That's what happened. That's what happened last night.
I want to see his net worth. I mean, he's $200,000 worth now.
No way he's $200,000.
If he wins the elections, his net worth is going to be 10 million, maybe 20 million when he's done with
overnight.
Yeah.
Netflix.
Let's see how much money he's going to get from Uganda.
Yeah. How much money he get from Netflix?
I'm sure a lot.
Yeah. Hard X Course says Mamdani continues to sidestep the anti-Israel chants. Why won't he be straightforward denying these terms? He doesn't. That's the problem, Hard X Core. He doesn't know what to do or say. You're a novice. He's not. He doesn't know what to do because you know why? He's not. What do? He's going to look at you. He's going to look around and see if somebody tells him what to do. He doesn't know. That's what's scary. You see Curtis right away has an answer. He knows what to do because he's been in the streets. He has experience, whether he was a cop or not, or he has been there for years. He has an answer. Mamdani's, I don't know.
It's like, does it matter if it denies who cares about Israel? I don't, because I live in America. I'm American. So who cares about other country? Who cares about anything else? What he says, you're Jewish, you're Muslim, you're Christian, you're Catholic, you're non-believer, you're Buddhist, you're Hindu, you still live in America, you're still American. I don't know. We got to stop giving money to other countries with my own tax money. I've been paying taxes since I was 16. So whatever they're doing over there, that's their business. We shouldn't be getting involved. I shouldn't be going to fight somebody else's war.
Lone Silence says he had a great thing he just said right here. Mamdani looked like a boxer with a great plan and answer for his opponent until he got punched in the face, threw him off script, and he buckled. And he definitely looked that way. And it's scary because that's how he's going to govern. And you're going to, trust me, you're going to remember everything I'm saying. Go, how does this guy know? Because I know, because I've already been through this numerous times. And experience matters for things. Life experience does matter. I think in today's day and age, life experience might mean more than a college education, because this guy has all his education and is clueless on how to handle situations because he doesn't know. He's never been. He's not even a blue collar guy, Ilbey. He's not.
Before I go, Suffolk County hires people with high school diploma. NYPD wants 60 college credits or 2 years of active duty. You go to college, make it different. I'm sorry. People go to college for certain things. I think only thing that is good for going to college is like you being a doctor or something. Lawyer. Why do we need lawyers? I don't get it. Judge, okay, I understand the judge. Maybe he's the middleman. I think I'll go to court because I've been there plenty times. I have a guy who's charging me thousands of dollars. And meanwhile, the other person has thousands of dollars of job. And the judge comes to the conclusion, I lose. What's the point? I don't get it. Like, I don't think education really matters. I mean, you could educate yourself. I've seen a lot of people who's never graduated, but the smartest people on the planet. I mean, look at certain people like Bill Gates, biggest scammer in the planet. Look how filthy rich he is. He's a dropout. How did he make that money?
I know. So Heart X Core. He says you don't have to care about Israel, but that issue is brought onto our soil by these radicals protesting. They stopped American Jews during their colleges. That's right. They did stop them from going in the dorms. And these are these psychotic. There's a whole radical base out there that just
it's always somebody behind it to divide. The Romans says you divide and conquer, you fear and conquer. And they've been doing that for decades. It repeats itself. They did it with COVID. What they want to do, fear. And they conquered it. What they do, we couldn't even get out of our houses. So, and then they force you to get a shot. Like, that's what they do. And then behind the doors, they raising your taxes. They raising this, they raising that. They doing everything else. Meanwhile, they have 10 cars in the dealership. They telling you they only have one in the front. They sell it. And they added $8,000 on top of it. Like, come on.
But they're going to give you a free bus ride if you got Mamdani. Even though the criminals to get that because they threaten people and people are afraid to say, hey, you have to pay your fare. Oh, no, I'll kill you. I'll punch you. Oh, sir, don't do that to me.
How about this?
Citizen, you got to pay.
Instead of charging $6, charge them $2. I think that would be fair. Cheaper. So now you can afford it. But who's going to pay the bus drivers, paycheck?
That's true. Yeah, a couple of things before I give you a final say. K1 Calendar says, I never went to college or anything like that, but I believe in homeschooling. I think if we made a New York City state easy to homeschool better, that'll be better for the education of the kids. I know people that actually homeschool even out here in Florida. It's actually better, I think, but that's a discussion for another day. Ron Layson said it is 24 college credits now. I agree that there doesn't need to be a college requirement. I tried to change it when I was at CAD, and it got shot down. That's actually another thing. And I know they're doing that in the police department. That's another problem.
You know why they do that, right? to eliminate certain people.
Correct.
Because,
Exactly.
exactly.
Top, the very top. Ron is the middle guy. Ron wasn't running that.
College is the same way. The certain job hire requirements is the same way. They eliminate people because now that job, 20,000 people gonna apply. Is gonna eliminate down all the way down with the size. You seen smartest people in the police department and most dumbest people in the police department. They book smart, but when it comes to hands-on, they the dumbest people. They pass their lieutenant test with aces, and then when it comes to the street, they're gonna stop a criminal. They pee their pants. They don't even want to lay hands.
Hassan's hysterical. He says, "Bring back Inspector Layson for low information recruiting." Hassan, you are hysterical. I got to give it to you.
And the funny, if we had a lieutenant in PSA 5 once upon a time, he did a crime scene on a mouse in the back. That tells you. And this guy passed the captain exam with aces.
I could tell you stories, brother, about a lieutenant became a captain. Guy came from internal affairs. Nice guy, but just scary to have him out on patrol. He actually stayed on the desk. He avoided patrol because he was terrified of the street. One of the nicest guys you'll meet. In fact, he smoked a cigar in the station house and and when he was out on patrol. But it's scary to know he was a patrol supervisor. I can tell you stories. Great guy, but just scary about what this guy was telling you to do in the street because he had no idea. But he passed the test, 90s. So again, where do you put your stock in, And Operation Breadbasket said, "I'm for college. Cops can't write 61. College helps, but with that."
I see college people, they can't even write a 61. So, you see what they're hiring now? They should make a lot of stuff before they even hire. I don't even want to say I might hurt people's feelings because, nowadays everybody's feelings gets hurt. So
Ron again, he said that this is again, anything where he worked in CAD, it has to be approved by the CEO of CAD, the chief of personnel, OMAP, and PC. And I think it's even more currently. I know a chief of personnel really is like the end all be all in candidate assessment division. But Ron is just like, he's there, but, he easily gets overruled by these other people if they want. Because in the end, it's the top people that are your problem. They're always going to be your problem. Yeah, the CO and the XO have us, but again, up top says, no. That's what we have in aviation right now, and we're going to get to that in the future. And all these other little departments, fleet services, it's always the very top that somehow trickles in. The people there are limited. Because if these guys tap you on the shoulder, you're done. It's kind of, it's like a mafia. It's the best way for me to describe. So I want to give you your final word. You've been on for a long time with us. So you were great today.
Listen, thank you. I appreciate it for having me back. Like I said, I appreciate it. America first. Like I said, forget about the race, religion, and just vote for whoever is right for you and your family and for the people around you. Because like I said, I didn't get what I deserved, but I'm fighting for it. Now is the Article 78, and we'll see what happens after that. Then I'm going to fight it till the fullest till I get it. So I'm a fighter, so I'm not going to quit till I get what I deserve.
Yeah, I'm rooting for you. Everybody here in the network is behind you. Where can people follow you? Because definitely you got to post more about this story because this is wild that you're still going through this. While other people.
Ilbey Aykac at my Instagram, Facebook, my first name, last name, and I have a little shop, and also my YouTube channel is Aykac19, and that's they can follow me there. I want to post, but it's just
you got a lot. You got a lot going on. I know. I understand. Yeah. You have a lot you're dealing with. I've been through that, so. And my hat's off to you. Again, when you do something, you're on a crusade by yourself. It's never simple. It's never easy. But something. Just know I'm behind you, and everybody here is. And you're gonna have your day, and you're gonna win in the end. Ilbey, you're gonna win.
But I just write a comment. It says, this comment has failed. New York's finest retired and unfiltered podcast. I don't know why New York finest just put there. I guess they blocked me for making a comment. So
I don't know. Well, we'll see. I don't know what that is. I never know. I don't know how that is. I
just put a comment on there, and then it blocked me. It says New York finest retired something blocked by it. So
I'll have Jack look into. I don't know how that is. We'll have to check on why that is. I have no idea because I'm not in control of that.
Okay.
So,
but that's it. My first name, last name. They can get a hold of me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and it will be great. Great. My express shop, I catch 19. If they can, support me that way, that will be great. If it's not, I work hard. So it's all good. Thank you.
We're here for you. We're here for you, Ilbey. And again, I catch 19 on YouTube. Use his name also to follow him on Instagram, but check him out on YouTube, and that's where you keep up with the latest on Ilbey. And Ron Layson said, I think you may have to be logged into YouTube to comment. Maybe that's it.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I'll try to put that up before the show's over. But Ilbey, thanks a lot for everything, and God bless you. And if you need anything, you know where to reach us.
God bless you too. Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a good day.
You too, Ilbey. Thank you very much. There you have it, folks. Ilbey's a well-spoken guy. He knows a lot. He's a veteran. This is disgraceful what's going on with him. And you hear he's a conservative. He's not an automatic. I mean, people, again, if you assume with this religion stuff, that's not a Mamdani guy. I know everyone wants to lump everyone into one basket. Or didn't someone say that long ago? We want to lump everyone into a basket of deplorables. That'll be your mistake. And, this is that is crazy. Ron Layson said, Ilbey, if you're still watching, best of luck, big guy. We're all behind you, man. This is ridiculous that this disability crap. I mean, we just saw a guy undeservedly get his 3/4, and then you're fighting with proof. And you're a veteran, and you've literally bled for this country, and that's how they treat people. Disgusting. That's the New York City Police Department under the soccer mom whose family loves contributing to Zohran Mamdani. So without any further ado, we're going to have the producers take Jack. I'm sure he's raring to go in the back. I didn't know you pulled up that thing with Jessica Tish's family. That is wild. I'm sure people just learned just now that the Tish family's been contributing close to $1 million to Zohran Mamdani. So take it away, Jack.
Yeah, I'm going to get to another shady campaign contribution. Big surprise from Zohran Mamdani. But first, I want to talk about Andrew Cuomo and Zohran Mamdani being two peas in a pod. So anyone who listened to the debate last night heard Andrew Cuomo calling out Mamdani for unjustly receiving a pay raise when he was a member of the assembly. That did happen between fiscal year 2022 and fiscal year 2023. He received a $32,000 increase from $110,000 a year to $142,000 a year. Cuomo originally said it was a $30,000 increase. It was actually $32,000. Point stands. But anyway, I find it ironic that Cuomo is talking about those types of pay increases when he himself, as governor, when inflation was a lot lower, received a $25,000 pay increase, despite killing people in nursing homes, doing very little to help the citizens. And he was the one, by the way, as the governor of the state, who approved said pay increase. So it's very ironic and weird in a sense that he's talking about unfair pay increases. Also, I'd like to point out, Cuomo is making $225,000 a year. That's a lot more than $142,000 a year. I know he was the top political position as the governor in Albany, but the point stands. I mean, the guy during a down economy when people are literally receiving stimulus checks because they have so little money is receiving a $25,000 pay increase. And mind you, that doesn't account for food expenses and all of the other kickbacks he's receiving living in the governor's mansion either.
I'm speechless. It's like, we were talking about this last night. We did this whole X space and like all these things with everybody, all these people wants to ignore like all this stuff. I don't get it. This is like.
I'm happy that we get to have factually based conversations about these things. And it's doubly fantastic that we had someone like Ilbey on, because Eric Dim and myself are Jewish. Ilbey is Muslim. The one thing we can religiously agree on is that it's ridiculous to be slandering a political candidate based on his religious affiliation. I mean, there's so many other things to hit him over the head with, one of which I'm going to slam him with momentarily here. So stand by. But like, why are you talking about ideological and ethnic beliefs as opposed to policies and all of the things that actually matter? To be honest, you're really helping Zohran Mamdani because, for example, he went on Pix 11 earlier today and said, it's sad that Andrew Cuomo is spending the final moments in public office, or public light rather, talking about my religion. Like, Cuomo is doing everything to help Mamdani with these attacks. And instead of questioning Mamdani's policies and his politics up in Albany, which are very skeptical and questionable, we're getting distracted talking about the things don't matter at all. Listen, none of us care about religion or race. What we do care about are the streets safe? Are we comfortable in our neighborhoods? Is the cost of living going up or going down? If you are against a certain religion or you don't like someone, it really doesn't matter as long as you're not actively spreading hate.
I agree. I don't want to hit this religion, this and that. This is not going to affect. I mean, look, you were in the same X space last night that we had. Yeah. By the way, just so people know, we had this big X space last night, and there were a lot of people in there, a lot of people that are in the comments now. A lot of our fans, even some haters, and then we had some paid propagandists in there that are just outrageous in this room. This went on for a couple of hours, and there were thousands of people in there all at once. You can check it out on X when you go on John Macari or me, or you'll still see it. You can listen to the whole thing. And by the way, once Curtis was done on Hannity, he came into the room to speak to everyone. So he spoke to all of you. That's the Republican candidate for mayor who just won the debate. That's who was on there.
And it wasn't just on Hannity either. He literally left a TV van that was sitting outside of LaGuardia Community College, got right out of the van, walked over to his campaign manager, and hopped on the Finest Unfiltered. I mean, that is being a true community person. He wasn't like someone who went out the back door, got in a private limousine, and then drove to Madison Square Garden to hang out with one of the most corrupt mayors in American history. That really shows you who these two people are in a nutshell. And I hope that everyone really rallies around Curtis Sliwa, because he did a fantastic job last night at the debate, especially speaking to younger people. I know that Zohran Mamdani, at face value, he looks like us. He's gone through the experiences that we have, at least to a certain degree, because he's a trust fund baby who owns properties overseas. So his life is a little bit different, just a little bit. But overall, I mean, he graduated college recently, deals with a lot of the stuff we did, but he has no tangible solutions about how to drive the cost of living down. When you ask Curtis Sliwa, he talks about cutting income, property, and corporate tax to try and bring jobs back to New York City to keep the major corporations there. Mamdani is all about raising the minimum wage to $30 an hour by 2030 in the next 5 years or so, when companies are cutting spending and profits are actually down. So I don't see how that's a tangible solution to anything.
No, and like I said, the debate was pretty much hands down. Curtis wiped the floor with these guys. He had all the substance. He had everything was there for him. I don't want to hear Cuomo. It's ridiculous. Cuomo got annihilated, and Mamdani looks like a little kid that's getting scolded in front of his family in his life. He's 12 years old. Hey, you know you did, and he doesn't, and he's sweating because he doesn't know. He's like, what? He doesn't know. He doesn't know what he's doing, And so I'm going to go through some comments here. This is in regards to last night. Hard X Core said this city doesn't deserve Sliwa. All he does on the streets and still gets crapped on. I agree that if things don't go the way we think here, that we think it happened, I would agree with that, because if he doesn't win, he is getting crapped on. The Lone Silencer says, unlike The Rock, Curtis Sliwa is the real, the man of the people, the people's champ. I agree with that. Danny Holkauer, by the way, he was in the chat going against these paid shills. Basically, they're all like Bill Ackman acolytes in our X space. Zionist shills. I'm Jewish, and I'm saying this. Cuomo is paying Zionists to scare people and then thinking Mamdani is a jihadi. It's mindless. I agree with you, Danny, 100%. By the way, you're like an unsung hero last night, putting those guys away with just like 3 minutes of time. You destroyed them. And it was ridiculous, some of the stuff that was being said in there. But again, to have a space with that many people, and you even have these paid shills in there, and they got their, I'm going to say it nicely, they got their butt handed to them. And they couldn't answer my own question either, because someone who's got a 70% unfavorability, has never been elected to any office anywhere, explained how someone could overcome that. Because it's never happened. Not even Trump, who has high unfavorabilities, in all his elections, he won twice, and he really won 3 times, but he won twice. The unfavorabilities being higher than normal for a presidential candidate. Here is a guy with 20% more than he does, than he's ever had. How do you win? You can't. That's the point I'm trying to say. People detest you. You need to be some kind of likable candidate to win. Curtis is likable. People find Mamdani likable. I don't know why, but that's a factor. And the enthusiasm, which you said you saw in a poll, Cuomo has 44% of his own people actually believe in him. You're underwater with that.
And that's very questionable because his retention rate is going to be low. If his followers are up for sale, so to speak, and they're not 1,000% set on voting for him, what does that tell you? Sliwa has a very good chance of peeling a lot of those people off, but it's not going to work in the inverse because Andrew Cuomo is a brand name, and that brand is associated with very negative things given everything that took place during COVID and how people have soured on this comeback tour where he got his ass kicked in the Democratic primary. So really, I mean, the numbers with Cuomo tell the whole story, and he has no chance of winning. But one more real quick thing on Mamdani donors, because, I mean, at some point, Sal, I think we're going to have to do an article where I individually reach out to some of these people and get comments about their motivation, because this is getting very suspicious. I mean, every time I look into a donor, it's like opening Pandora's box and 5 snakes jump out and start biting. I mean, it's totally insane. But this donor in particular was very suspicious to me. You have Jacob Aykac. I think this is how you pronounce his name. He works for Spotify, is a data engineer, and he lives in Atlanta, Georgia. He's never lived in New York City. I don't know if he's set foot in New York City. I look him up on LinkedIn. Okay, he works at Spotify, which is a music company. His mom's a very musical person. It's all starting to make some sense, right? But then I scroll down a little bit and I see he works at this place called Cardilix. Now, what does Cardilix do? It's a commerce media platform. Zohran Mamdani is a very commerce-centric guy, right? So all of the chips are kind of starting to add together here. And mind you as well, Jacob is the same age as me. He's 28 years old. He lives out of state working as a data engineer for a company that's not even based in New York City. Yet somehow he's motivated to give $2,100 of his own money in a down economy where the cost of living is very tight. And he's presumably not making a lot of money as a data engineer either. This is very suspicious, Sal. Is someone giving him $5,000 saying you have to give $2,100 to Mamdani? Does he have some sort of other motivation that his company is going to move to New York and he's going to get his interests represented? I don't know. These things, when there's smoke, there's fire with political donations. And the more that I do deep dives into them, the more suspicious I become.
Yeah. Plus the unemployed people, they give $2,100. They don't make a living and having a hard time, on their W-2s and W-9s, but they have the time. They give $2,100 donation to a guy out of state that they've probably never met in their life. This is highly suspicious, and that's why, like Hard X Core is saying, it's all shrill donors, worst kept secret. You're right. That's what we're saying, which is a felony. And again, he will be limping in to Gracie Mansion if somehow he were to win. So people check out that X space. You can still go back and listen because Curtis Sliwa did come in and he did speak to everybody, which was great. That in itself is a moment, his moment of victory. And then he, comes on and talks to everybody. I think it says a lot about the candidate, and Michael Fried said, actually, they're all over TikTok. So many out of town are saying Mamdani's their mayor and giving him money. We also just showed you today, Michael, the TikTok people that donate to him. So you're right. And I just showed you today that the Tisch family has been donating to Mamdani. You look, it's very questionable things. That's where you usually get these corrupt actors. So I don't think Mamdani's any different. I've said it. Mamdani's in your face. Are you going to fall for it or not is the question. I see. My eyes don't mistake me. Do yours out there? I don't know.
It's crazy how he's deceived people about the reality of the situation here. It talks about grassroots campaigns. We've already put that myth to bed time and time and time again. But then he's also talking about working class New Yorkers taking the city back for them and how it's unfair that they're not able to afford to live there anymore. I agree with both of those things. He brings up valid points. But then how are you getting donations from guys who work at Spotify in Georgia, people who work at Comcast in Denver, Colorado, that have never been out of state before? It just doesn't add up. And then you dig a little bit deeper, you find out he wants to keep Commissioner Tisch. Oh, her family's given him $500,000 or something like that. Like, he is the definition. 170 foreign contributions as well, including one from the other side of the world, not just the other side of the country, because we know he got $1 million from California too, the other side of the world. But this is the textbook definition of putting mayoral control of a city, in this case, America's biggest city, up for sale. Like, what are we missing here? Are we stupid? Are we ignorant? Are we missing something? Are we not seeing the same thing as other people? I do not understand in any way, shape, or form how this man is possibly appealing, yet alone to people my age. It doesn't make any sense.
I say this. Somebody mentioned this. Enrico Palazzo says, Mamdani reminds me of the dude that bought the Islanders who said he was worth millions and got banks to front of millions. That is an infamous story, folks. You can look that up on the New York Islanders. They did have an owner he had no money. He used the banks to front it. It was bad. It was bad. And that's why the Islanders were, had a really rough stretch over the years because the owner was, he wasn't worth anything. And that's it. That's the three-card Mamdani. And Spano, that was his name. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was what happened. And this is the world you live in. I don't know, Jack. So what's on tap? I guess tomorrow, 8:05 in the morning. The finest unfiltered. I might have to jump in that round table. This is so important, and everything that's gone on. I think all of us have to get together and just lay everything out on the table.
It's the home stretch of election season. Just for all of you out there who may live in New York City, early voting does begin on Saturday at 9 a.m. So be sure to register to vote. Go ahead to vote. Find your nearest polling site, whether it be in your county specifically or somewhere outside your county. And of course, go ahead and vote for Curtis Sliwa. But as it pertains to the finest unfiltered, we're going to be bringing you great content all the way up until Election Day. And then obviously in the aftermath as well. We're just kind of laying the foundation now, which takes place on November 4th. Tomorrow, John, Eric, and Marlon will be back for the weekly roundtable where they'll wrap up the debate, talk about Mamdani, Cuomo, Sliwa, get into the nitty-gritty details about it, talk about some of Mamdani's crazy policy ideas, having dispatchers decide whether or not to deploy police officers or community safety people to scenes. For those of you who haven't seen it yet, John McCarry did a fantastic interview with Fox News Digital about this very phenomenon. I'll put it in the chat momentarily in a second when I hop off, but he commented on that, and he's going to be expanding on those comments on the show. So be sure to tune in and listen to what he has to say.
Yeah, great analysis, Jack, as always, and great space last night. It was a lot going on. Again, I really suggest everybody go back and go on X and listen to that. There was a lot of information, a lot of low information too, but hey, one person in particular, this guy Dan, came in and didn't know it was a Cuomo guy, left saying, I'm low information, but now he's voting for Curtis Sliwa because of what he heard from all of us. So that's how you do it, little by little. Just because you're low information doesn't mean you're low information forever. You could burst out of the bubble, kind of like you're out of the matrix. You're unplugged, That's basically the best way to say it. Adams live endorsing Cuomo. Matt O'Brien says, you knew that was going to happen, though. Are they going to Sobro Gardens tonight? That's all I want to know. Are they going to go party with Jimmy Rodriguez, the mob associate? Marta had Hardex course says, so now by default, unions who endorse Adams are now for Cuomo. I don't know. Where are the unions? Because they're certainly not there for their members, by the way. There's the article right there. You see, it says right there, www.foxnews. go to that. That is the article. John McCarry, excellent commentary there. It's you got to read the article and look at his comment. We're going to expand on that tomorrow. 8:05 live. If you can, yesterday the executive perspective was on. Again, it's on every Wednesday at 5:00, and Ron and Rob were really digging in on this whole ridiculous thing that came up at the debate. The NYPD can arrest on-duty federal agents for doing their job, but again, they were up against the clock because we had this debate. So check that show out because it was very interesting. Also, the 10-4 Tavern had an excellent interview with former Chief Boyce. He's a legend in an NYPD. I'd say he was a chief of detectives, and that was very interesting, and a lot of people like that. So go back and watch that if you can. And listen, I'll be back on Tuesday. I could tell you next Thursday, John Scola will make his return to the Sal Greco Show. And there's a lot that John's going to say, and a lot that John has floating around in those court systems and what's coming up also. So tune in next Thursday for John Scola. I'll be back on Tuesday, though. I hope everyone has a good weekend. Thank you all for being in this chat. Thank you all for being in the X Space last night. Everyone that was on there, haters, trolls, fans of ours, we're just here trying to inform everyone, especially those in the low information bubble. Danny Hulkauer, by the way, I see you in the comments. You were excellent last night. I just want to keep reiterating that. The way you put down those 2-page shills, and you're honest. By the way, folks, no one here is making bank here, okay? We do this because we're honest and we're trying to really help people and help the city, the state, and the police department in the rank and file and all the city agencies. How New York City goes is how the country usually does. It's the former shiny city on a hill. Ronald Reagan used to call it that. All right, so this was an unbelievable, turn of events in the debate. Hi, Aria 2056, I see you. And yeah, Lone Science also love the can of whoop ass you opened up on those two clowns. It has to be said. So Aria, I'm going to answer this before I go. Sal, what do you think about Mamdani and Sliwa all keeping Tish? I don't think Curtis Sliwa would keep Jessica Tish, to be honest. And Cuomo's definitely wouldn't be keeping her because he's been talking to Tariq Shepard. And then Mamdani, the only reason you're hearing about this is, I don't know if you saw the show, the Tish family has donated close to $1 million to Zohran Mamdani. We just showed it on the show. I'll make a clip for everyone to see. So that's why there's even talk about that, because Mamdani was going to put Adabasi or Ronnie Harrison there. So that is all, nonsense that they want Tish there. If she pays enough for that, she might get it from Mamdani if he gets elected. But everyone else is just a suggestion, but it's not going to be the final resolution. As Curtis Best said last night, to keep stability. But the New York City Police Department is not stable under the soccer mom. That is for certain. So with that being said, I hope everybody has a good weekend. Check out tomorrow, 8:05 with John, Eric, and Marlon. And maybe I pop on myself too, because again, we have a lot of things to hit. And check us out. Keep staying informed. Thank you all. And I will see you on Tuesday back here on the Sal Greco Show. I'm signing off from South Florida, which, as you know, is a sunny place for shady people. Now, I know you're tired of searching on the web for things and not getting the results you're looking for. I have something for you. FreeSpoke. FreeSpoke is a search engine that is all about authenticity rather than agendas. Labels, media bias, no intrusions, or data leaking or your data being taken from you. Porn-free, none of those ads, unlimited, unbiased AI, deep dive podcast searching, and you can get it by going to freespoke.app.link/Greco. Use the same link to get a 35% discount on your premium subscription. What are you waiting for, folks? This is the way of the future. FreeSpoke.
What I'm asking New Yorkers for is to look back at all the things I've done as a deputy commissioner for operations, the assistant as assistant commissioner, and my time as a not only as a New Yorker but as a police officer. I get stuff done.
Listen, there was a book that came out that Jasmine Ray wrote, and in the Daily News today, it was stated that there was a sexual action that happened in Borough Hall to be put in that book, and it wasn't. You're a dark, sick person, man. You know that? You're a dark, sick person. Your name was on the byline. And there's some of you that have been covering me. You guys could part. Let me do this. Y'all could depart. Y'all could depart. Some of you have been covering me for 3.5 years. Some of you are so sick and dark, and you're the leader of that. You're one of the most dark writers that I've ever seen in this city. And your personal sick vendetta and the sickness of how you think of over-sexualizing a black man, that in the book is stated that there was a sexual action in Borough Hall. That was never in the book. But that's typical of the sickness and the darkness of your sick mind. You're one of the sickest reporters I know. Go to the next question. You're a sick person.